You're live. Ooh. Okay. Cool. We're going to get started then here. As more people come in and get ready to get started for the night, we're going to get talking about the fourth commandment tonight. But first, a couple other things before we get to that part. So, first off, this Sunday, that is really, can you turn me down just a little bit? Over here. Yep. I'm the one that I am. You see which one it is? The what? Okay. 1 second. That's weird. Did you?
I didn't do anything.
Well, you're not. Huh. Okay, we have a slight technical problem. It'll be just a second while I fix this. Hold up. Why is it? Okay, this is. What the? Okay. It's over there now. Oh, but you're just getting this main screen. Okay, well, we'll just do this. So that's where, but it's not showing up there. Ah! Does that show? No. can't get both. That's not working, is it? Now it's just black. All right, we're just going to get started, and we'll have to figure this out later. You just don't show that screen, just show this up there. Okay. Okay, sorry about that. Don't know what's wrong with the computer. It's been acting weird all night. So, this Sunday is Pastor Steve's installation on Sunday starting at 2 o'clock. The bishop will be here. It'll be a big service. There'll be communion. So we invite everybody to come and be part of the installation service on Sunday at 2 o'clock. So that's kind of cool. We will still have youth group from 11 to 1. We will have jungle pong and more. So we invite everybody to come and hang out with us, play some games, do some fun things. And then if you're going to be here, go ahead and you can come back at 2 for the installation. On there, this last Sunday night, we had our first bonfire up at the fire pit. So it was kind of cool. We had marshmallows and hot chocolate and all kinds of fun stuff. And it was it warm enough? I'm looking at you. Was it warm enough? It was a little cold. It was a little cold, yes. But I think we had fun, and we'll do it again. So let's go ahead and begin with our opening prayer. The Lord be with you. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the blessings that you shower upon your people constantly. Help us to open our hearts and minds to hear your words today as we talk about family, moms and dads, and why they're important, and why you have a commandment specifically about how we should interact with our family. Amen. All right. So what have we talked about so far? And we have yummy Halloween candy. So, we've been talking about the 10 Commandments so far. What is one thing that you recall from our conversation, Lily Schwartz? We shall not have any gods before our God. That is correct. Chris Henry. Joseph. Joseph, we talked about, before we started talking about the Ten Commandments, we talked about the history of Israel before that, and Joseph did get sold into slavery by his brothers. Yes, Brandon. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. That is the first word. Exodus 20, at the beginning there. That's the first thing. The thing that God tells us that establishes our relationship with him, that he is our God and we are his people, and as such, we should live that way. Yes, Miss Langford. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. We talked about that last week, right? The third commandment. Mr. Strasberg the third. No, like you're the third, like Evan and then Reed and then Grant. So yeah, you're the third. Moses ran away from Egypt, and he was gone again for 40 years, and then eventually he comes back because God says, I need you to go back and free my people. Yes. Brendan. Yes. There was a town, and God was like, there are just a bunch of evil people there, and Abraham bargained with God and says, okay, well, if you find like 40 people, are you really going to destroy the whole town? And God's like, nah. He's like, well, how about if you find like 30 people? And he worked him down. And he kept saying, what, there's only 10 good people in the town. Are you still going to save it? And God says, I would spare the town if I could find 10 good people in that town. Awesome job. Who else? Anybody? Yes, Caroline. You shall not use the Lord your God's name in vain. The second commandment. Do you have another one there, Mr. Grant? Sodom and Gomorrah were the two towns that they were going to go destroy. Yes. Do you remember his son's name? Abraham almost sacrifices his son Isaac. God says, take him up on the mountain, and they're getting ready to head up there, and Isaac's like, Dad, we're going up to do the offering, but there's no animal. We didn't bring anything with us. And Abraham says, God will provide. And that's the story. God provides, and God does end up providing for the sacrifice. So, very good. That's where we are right now. So we are now on the fourth commandment. So go ahead and pull out your paper and notes and your Bible. And this is the fourth commandment. Honor your father and your mother so that your days may be long in the land that the Lord is giving you. Honor your father and mother so that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God is giving to you. This is the first commandment that also encapsulates a promise that God is making to us. Everything else is, you shall not take the Lord your God's name in vain. You shall remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. You shall not have any other gods before me. In this one, he's saying, honor your mother and father, and if you do that, this is what God's going to do for you. Right? You do this thing, we're going to do that. Now, the last 3 weeks, we've talked about the first three commandments, and those are about our relationship with God, right? Do not have any other gods before me. Do not take the Lord your God's name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. These are all about us in our relationship with God, right? So I want you to write that down. First three commandments, it's about our relationship with God. The next 6 commandments are about our relationship with the people around us. How we interact with the people around us. First 3, up and down, our relationship with God. The next one is our relationship this way. All the people around us. So the first one they give us is honor your father and your mother so that your days may be long in the land that your Lord your God is giving you. So we're going to do an activity. I would like each group to stand up, every small group, So I might have to like reposition small groups together. So like grab in your small groups, and then we're going to talk about this activity that we're going to have you do. So 8th grade girls get together, 7th grade girls. Each of you get together. I'm going to probably have to combine a few just to make it easier on all of you. Eighth grade girls. 6th and 7th grade girls, I'm going to put you all together. Since there's 4 of you, you guys are good. You guys are good. No, you don't have to take your stuff. This is temporary, short term. You guys are good. You guys are good. Okay, we got 4 groups. So this is what I want you to do. You have 10 minutes or less, depending on how fast you are. I want you to come up with a skit illustrating what you think it means right now. We haven't even talked about the 4th commandment, but I want you to come up with a skit. It can be like a 30-second skit. It doesn't have to be a long production of Shakespeare or anything. But what does it mean to honor your father and mother so that your days may be long in the land the Lord is giving to you? We haven't talked about it, but I'm sure you have some ideas of what this might mean. Is everybody clear? Okay. Go. If you want to spread out, you can go out there in the sanctuary area. You can go over there, work out your idea, and we'll have 10 minutes. We'll come back and we will show our skits to the rest of the group. Don't worry about that.
We'll do it like walk slowly. Oh yeah, we could do that. Nice. Okay, so that you have it so like now here's a bad example. And it's like, son, could you help me with this task? Yes, no, father, I shall not. This is what they think of your task. And then enter the fight scene. And enter the glorious fight scene. So is that what we're gonna do? You're gonna do the fight scene. You gotta choreograph the fight. You gotta practice it. I'm thinking you have like the 2 or you guys are doing the skit, like you see where the kids use the dad as example. You guys do the skit and then I do, and I'm like, this is a bad example. And you guys reset. They do it again except the bad example. And then with the story it's cool to make fight. I know that's what I was doing. Like, or whoever wants to do it. Basically, 3 people they do the skit and they're like, now this will be the bad example. What if they have one parent with 2 kids and they're like, go do that task? I know, we'll have a kid that's at the same time. said, no, this is what I think in your store. So he grabs it. It's like this battery comes up. He goes, and I was like, oh. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. He's a good kid. That's like normal. Like everyone's like, yeah, this seems like a normal kid. And then, like, okay, now this is a bad example. Then the other kid comes up. We don't actually take it. Yeah, okay. Movie father, movie children. I think I should be narrator. I don't know. Okay. Here. Now, you need to choreograph a fight scene. Well, he's like, no, this is what I think of your. He just goes, starts swinging. Now, this is a good example. Then it's like, hey, could you help me? He goes, sure. You grab this spine, put it up on the table and walk back. Well, it should be like right after the no, because we'll probably do it. Sure, yeah, you can use this table instead. You grab, so you just grab that, you put it on his table after he says, you, can you help me with this task? Put that Bible here. You just grab one of the Bibles down there and put it up there. And you sit back down. And then it's like, now this is the bad example. Yeah. Now this is the bad example. And then no. You know, he fights you in response. Put that book there, and he's like, no, never. He starts going for you. Epic fight scene ensues. So how are you going to choreograph your fight scene? That he goes, I won't, and then he's not gonna actually punch you. He's gonna like fake punch you. Oh. All right. So this is the good example. Now this is the bad example. Oh. So ask him to put another book up.
All right, everybody's done. Everybody's ready. Okay. Okay. Do you have, this is going through. Okay. Test. 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 How many mics do you need? Then they won't see it here on the live stream. We have to have mics. All right. So we have the 8th grade ladies with their theatrical interpretation of the 4th commandment. All right. Go ahead. Yay! All right, who wants to go next? 8th grade guys. Too bad. Too bad.
Thank you.
Here, you can also use this one.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, hold on. Nope, you don't have to touch anything. Just
Okay.
talk into the mic.
This is the good example.
Son.
This is the good example.
Son, put that book here.
Now this is the bad example.
Son, put that book here.
No.
All right, that's it.
Okay. Yay! Okay, when you talk in the future, you have to talk into the mic. Then you can actually hear it. 6th grade, 7th graders, are you ready? Come on, you're good. I know you're good. The girls. 6th and 7th grade girls. Yes. You have to talk into it so you can hear you.
It's dinner time at the Johnson dinner table. It's dinner time at the Johnson family dinner table.
Hello, sweetie. What's that? May I see it? Oh, I see you have a C. Yeah. In math. So, you can talk to us anytime that you need help. But why would I? Because we're your parents.
Don't talk to your mother like that.
Okay, so anytime that you need help in math or any other subject, you can just talk to us. We'll help you.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mom. The end.
Yay! Very good. That leads us to the 6th and 7th grade guys. Come on down.
Wire? Okay.
The first commandment, you shall have no other gods. The second commandment, you shall not make wrongful use of the name of the Lord your God. The third commandment, remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy.
Stop lecturing me, Daddy.
Well, then let's have a conversation. What do these commandments mean to you?
If you follow them, you'll live a longer, happier life.
You'll live a easier life. You'll live a happier life.
That happens sometimes. All right. So, Maddie, just tap the screen. Go in and tap and highlight the screen up there so that there you go. All right. So what does this mean? What does this commandment mean? Besides, you just have to listen and do everything your mom and dad say, right? Is that what it's saying? You have to do everything they say, no matter what. Kind of. We're going to get to that. So it says, honor your mother and father so that that your days may be long in the land that I am giving you, right? You have to remember, the Israelites at this point in time have just gotten out of Egypt. They've been wandering around for a little while. And God's giving them a set of rules, a set of guidelines on how to live. They are not in the promised land yet. They're not in that place that God's saying, this is going to be the place I'm going to give you that's full of milk, flowing milk and honey. This wonderful place that is going to be just for you. They're not quite there yet. So what does the Bible say? What does it mean for us to honor our mothers and fathers? So the first one I want you to, first Bible verse, because there are a ton of Bible verses about listening to your parents in the Bible. So it must be actually pretty important. Like Proverbs 17:6, grandchildren are the crown of old men, and the glory of sons is their fathers. Kind of a strange thing. Proverbs has this way of saying little bits of wisdom in kind of a poetic way. Grandchildren are the crown of old men. What does that mean? Does anyone have any idea what that means? Brendan. Old men, and he is exactly right. How many of you, like your grandparents, love to hear the things that you're doing, right? They love to hear about what you do in school and sports and activities. The things that you do reflect on your parents, which also reflects on your grandparents. And so they look at you as like, these are the crowns. These are the things that I have created indirectly, right? Grandparents had your parents. They had you. So the things that you do are kind of like jewels in their crown saying, this is awesome, look at that. They're part of the legacies that I'm leaving here. And the glory of sons is their fathers. The same thing. The things that you do well reflect great on your parents. Now it says fathers and sons, but it does the same thing for daughters and mothers, all that. The things that you do reflect on your parents, and they bring them joy. I can tell you as a parent, the things that my daughter does bring me joy. Now sometimes they make me a little crazy, but the things that she does wonderful, the things that she's awarded about, give me great joy. Next, this is from Exodus. He who strikes his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. I know, it even gets better. He who kidnaps a man, whether he sells him or he is found in his possession, shall surely be put to death. He who curses his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. This is a happy Bible verse, right? Because there are times, this was the law. This is what God is saying. Don't curse your parents. Don't be like, oh, my parents. Because we all get that, right? I remember there have been times in my life where I was like, Mom and Dad just don't get me. They're stupid. Right? Who said that before? Nobody can see your faces, so you can. I did it numerous times. I look back at it and I'm like, there were times in my life where I honestly did not think my parents understood what I was going through. That they didn't know anything. Here's a hint from what I learned. The older I got, the smarter my parents are. The older I get, the more I experience life, the more I realize how smart my parents were and are to this day. I still call them when I have questions because I finally realize they're really smart people. So I probably shouldn't be cursing them. I probably shouldn't be hurting them. I probably shouldn't do things that offend them. Instead, I should be doing the things to honor them. And then we get to Colossians in the New Testament, and St. Paul writes, children, be obedient to your parents in all things, for this is well-pleasing to the Lord. How many people in here want to do things that make God happy? We all do. we all want to make God happy, right? Paul's telling us that one of the things that makes God happy is when his children do the things that are obedient to their parents. So we're going to talk about, well, what does that mean? In your Lutheran handbook, we were talking about this commandment. This is what Martin Luther wrote. And you have to understand, Martin Luther had a bunch of kids. Him and his wife had a bunch of kids. They ran around, they were crazy, and he realized it was important for them to understand the faith. That's the whole reason he came up with this idea of the catechism, so that parents could teach their kids about God. And so this is what he writes. We are to fear and love God, so that we neither despise nor anger our parents or other authority, but instead honor, serve, obey, love, and respect them. There's a lot of stuff in there. It's not just listen to your parents, right? That's not what this commandment is. There's a lot more to that. We're going to go a little bit deeper. You guys in your skits were right. There's the way we follow our parents, and there's times that we don't follow our parents. And one of the best ways to honor them is to listen to the things they want us to do. To go to them, like the one skit, when we're in trouble. Go to them and say, I need your help. You know that's one of the best ways to honor your parents? I'm glad you guys brought that up. To show them, like, I respect you enough that I'm going to ask you for help. That's your parents' entire purpose on here. Your parents' job on this world is not to make you happy. I know we wish it was, right? True? Like, I wish my parents would just give me all the things I want so I can be happy. Their job is to keep you alive. That's your parents' whole responsibility. Keep you alive. And mold you into being children of God. That's their responsibility. Nowhere in their job responsibilities does it say, this week we have to make Caroline happy. Now, does it happen? I'm sure it does. I'm sure your parents make you happy at different times, right? So I want you to write this down. So we break down what it says. We are to fear and love God, right? That's what Martin Luther says every time he does an explanation. We should fear and love God. Because we fear and because we love God, we should neither despise nor anger our parents. What does despise mean? Does anybody know? Brandon. Not to be disgusted and hate. Those are very good words for what despise means. To look down negatively. I know it's hard as teenagers and preteens to think, because mom and dad sometimes do things that make us mad. They say things that don't make sense. They expect us to do things that don't make sense. They make us do strange things. I'm going to tell you a couple stories from when I was growing up. Times that I did not honor my mother and father. So when I was growing up, my parents were very strict about what you could wear when you went to school. They said, going to school is like your job, and so we expect you to dress like you're going to your job. So I couldn't wear jeans to school until my junior year of high school. I couldn't wear t-shirts to school until my junior year of high school. And most of the time I didn't, even after that. My parents were like, you need to wear slacks or corduroys. You need to wear button-up shirts or polo shirts. That's what you wear. Now, when you're a little kid, it's not a big deal, but when you get older, you're like, really? All my friends are wearing jeans. All my friends are wearing shorts. All my friends are doing these things. So there were times, let's say, that I thought, I will just do what I want to do, and I would pack some extra clothes in my bag and take them to school. And before school, I would change into my jeans or my t-shirt. So I'm like, hey, look at me, I'm cool. I don't look like a dork, because I thought I looked like a dork. Was I honoring my mother and father? No. Now, is it a big thing? Like, am I like yelling and screaming at them? No. Did anybody know I was dishonoring them? No. Except for the one person who knows everything, God. Second story. I met a girl. This was in high school. And she was a wonderful girl. We met at a church retreat weekend, and she lived far away, and I lived here. And like, we just started writing letters. That was before like the internet, before texting, before that. So we would actually literally write letters back and forth to each other, and we would send them in the mail. And so like you'd mail it, and then, you know, like a week later you'd get a letter back. And so we kept doing that back and forth, just talking and being friends. And then we had this time where we were like, well, you know what? There's this other youth event thing. We're both going to be there. Hey, maybe we could, you know, hang out some more. And so I was very excited because I really liked this girl. She was really, really nice. And I told my dad about it, and I was like, oh, we're going to go there, and we're going to, you know, hang out, and blah, blah, blah. And then we got there, and I think we were just kind of like, didn't know what to do. So I started hanging out with this other girl that whole time we were there and kind of ignored this girl I had been writing. And my dad showed up on Sunday night to this event, and he was there watching us, and he saw what I was doing, how I was completely ignoring this one girl who was my friend, who I've been writing to letters to and having phone calls for, and I was completely hanging up on this other girl all the time, making the first girl really upset. My dad got me in the car because we had to drive home 2.5 hours, and my dad wouldn't talk to me the entire way. I could tell he was just mad. He was mad at the way I had treated this young lady. But I had totally ignored her and done something that just was easy. My dad walks into me when we get home. We haven't talked at all for 2.5 hours on the car ride home. And he walks into the bathroom, and I'm there getting, brushing my teeth, and he walks up to me and he says, I'm disappointed in you. That's all he said. He said, I'm disappointed in you, and walked away. That hurt. That hurt more than any other punishment I ever had in my entire life. For my dad to come up to me and say, I am disappointed in you. Worse than the worst spanking I ever got, worse than being grounded for any other time I've gotten grounded. Those words, because I had known I had done something. I had dishonored my dad. It wasn't directed towards him, right? But it was not how he had raised me, which I should have known. But I didn't. And that's what it looks like. We shouldn't anger our parents. We shouldn't despise our parents. Because they're here to love us. Now here's where Martin Luther goes off the rails. And you're going to find this as we go forward. Because next week, does anybody know offhand what the fifth commandment is? Nobody. You shall not kill. How many of you right now have on their bucket list they want to kill somebody? Nobody? That's good. But it's not just about killing. We're going to talk about this next week. Martin Luther goes in and says, it's not about killing people, because most of us are not going to kill people. Right? Whenever Martin Luther is sitting there and talking about these different aspects of what the commandments mean, sometimes he throws things in there that you're like, well, I don't get that. And this is one of those. This is where we start having these conversations where what is written in the exact words in the commandment is just a fraction of what we need to look at. So it says, you should fear and respect God, so that we neither despise nor anger our parents and other authority. I want you to write that down. And other authority. What does that mean? Hallie? Aunts, uncles, grandparents, siblings. That's a very good list to start with. Who else are the authorities in your life? Cousins? School staff is included in that. Who else? Your great-great-grandmothers, yes. Who else in your life is an authority over what you do? Roland. Confirmation teachers. Who else? Lydia. God, of course. Yep, God is there. Who else is an authority in your life? Brendan? Huh? Yourself? Not exactly. I mean, I guess you have some authority over to be responsible. How many of you play a sport? Okay. Is your coach an authority on the things that you do? Okay. How about our policeman authority? Right? Is the government an authority in your life? Do they lay down the laws, give you instructions on how you should behave and not behave? They do. When we disrespect other authorities in our life, our coaches, our teachers, our instructors, our grandparents, our uncles, you disrespect your parents, right? Your parents expect you to follow those rules. They expect you to listen to the advice of your grandparents and your cousins and your uncles and your coaches. And when we don't do that, we dishonor our parents. Yes, Chris. Even teachers. Because you have to see, think of this. Your parents send you to school, right? So when they send you to school, they expect you to learn. And they expect you to listen to the teachers and follow the rules of the school so that you can become a better person, become educated. What if the teachers are bad teachers? Okay? This is a good question. This is a good question. What if the person who's in authority of you is not a good person? And sometimes we have to make that call, right? But there's a difference between saying, I don't like this teacher because they're tough, so I'm not going to respect them and do that, right? Because it's very easy to say, my coach is hard. He's tough on me. My band teacher expects me to practice every day, and that's just not cool, so I'm not going to do it. There is that line. Are they actually bad? Or are they just tough? And you have to make those calls. There are those times. We do have. But here's the big but, okay? Just because somebody's bad about what they do. Like we may have bad teachers. I've had bad teachers in my life, okay? I've had family members who I may not be like, they really don't understand what's going on. But that doesn't mean we disrespect them. You may be like, go to your parents, or you may go to other people and talk and say, how can I get through this? How can I learn differently? How can I change? But too many times when people say, well, it's a bad teacher, so I'm not going to do what they want me to do. I'm not going to do those assignments. I don't care. When we do that, we disrespect our parents. I know it's tough. You're like, I don't want to deal with these bad teachers. I don't want to deal with these bad people. But there's a proper way to deal with them, and an improper way to deal with them. Go ahead. Okay. We're going to talk about that next week. Okay? When we talk about you shall not kill. Okay? Because we're going to talk about how do you deal with people who are mean. Right? We're going to talk about it. We're going to watch a video next week specifically about how do you deal with people who are mean, rotten people. Because there are mean people in this world. I wish I could say there are not mean people, and you're going to meet nice people your entire life, but you're going to meet mean people. Great question. We'll talk about it next week. Okay? Because it's on my list of videos to show for next week. I have this great video of how do you deal with bullies or mean people? You do not stab them. All right. So those are the authorities in your life. All right, we're going to watch a movie clip. Now, this is one of my favorite movies. I will admit right now it's an R-rated movie because of the language in it. But I love this movie. It's called Chef. And it's this movie about this guy who is a chef, right? And he kind of loses it on social media and then kind of loses his job. And he's divorced. He has this divorced son. I mean, him and his wife are divorced, and they have this younger son. And he ends up and he goes and he loses everything in his life, and he starts to rebuild his life by opening this food truck. And it's the summer, so he takes his kid with him along this journey, and he's teaching him the things that he loves. He loves being a chef. He loves cooking, right? And so he has this point where they're doing something, and he's teaching his son how to make food on the food truck, and they're doing something, and his son burns, not intentionally, but, overcooks this sandwich a little bit, and it gets burned, and he even though it's still burned, I'll just put it on there, and we'll just still serve it. And his dad pulls him aside because that's not what they do. And so this is the clip of what happens after he burns this sandwich.
Slow down for a second. Is this boring to you?
No, I like it.
Yeah, well, I love it. Everything that's good that's happened to me in my life came because of that. I might not do everything great in my life. Okay, I'm not perfect. I'm not the best husband, and I'm sorry if I wasn't the best father. But I'm good at this. And I want to share this with you. I want to teach you what I learned. I get to touch people's lives with what I do. And it keeps me going, and I love it. And I think if you give it a shot, you might love it too.
Yes, chef.
Now, should we have served that sandwich?
No, chef.
That's my son. Get back in there. We got some hungry people. He's ready to cook.
Yes, Chris Henry. That is Happy from the Avengers, yes. It is the same guy. Jon Favreau, he's actually the director. He's a director of some of the Marvel movies. But yes, that's him. He is, and this is where he's at. He loves cooking. Throughout this whole movie, he spends time making these intricate dishes. He makes his son grilled cheese sandwiches and uses 4 or 5 different types of cheese. It's amazing. But he loves cooking, and he finds that his love for cooking makes people happy. It brings joy to other people. It brings joy to him, and so he wants to share that with his son. And this is the thing about your parents. Your parents want to bring you joy. It doesn't always seem like it, but they love you, and they care for you, and they want to show you how to live a life full of joy and happiness, because that's what God intends for them to do. Now, everything they do isn't going to make you happy. I will say that right now. There were plenty of times where my parents did not make me happy growing up. Sometimes they made me absolutely frustrated. There are times when I make my daughter, who's right back there, crazy, right? She's not listening to me. Yes. Oh, she does. Okay. There are times I make her crazy. But I can tell you it's honestly because I love and I care for her deeply that I do the things that I do. I can assure you, your parents do the same. Are they going to screw up? Yes. Are they not going to? Sometimes parents we mess up, right? We don't understand you all the time. That's like the skit I talked about, right? Where Lydia was talking and she says, when you have a problem, come and talk to me. The best thing you can do to honor your mother and father is to talk to them. If you don't talk to them, and I'm talking like, not talking as in like, Mom and Dad, you're stupid. It's more like, Mom and Dad, can you help me understand? Can you show me this? And when you do that, when you come to that conversation, that is one of the best ways you can honor them. Because it shows that you respect them and what they believe and what they think, and you want them. Anybody in your relationship, any of the relationships we talked about in terms of authority, when you go to them and ask them for help, that is one of the best ways that you can honor somebody. I know when I'm like doing something and somebody comes up to me and says, hey, I have this thing I don't understand. Can you explain it to me? Can you show me how to do this thing? Can you help me understand it? When you guys ask questions of me about God, confirmation stuff, or life, it brings me joy because it means that I realize that, well, they must think I know something. Your parents are the exact same way.
I'm a Verizon engineer, and
That did
today
not go well.
we're
So Martin Luther says, do not despise or anger your parents or other authorities, but we should do these things. And I want you to write these 5 words down and circle them and highlight them because this is the way these are the words that we should build our life around. Honor, serve, obey, love, and respect. Honor, serve, obey, love, and respect. These are big words. But I can tell you, if you build your life around these 5 words, you will live a life full of joy. If you live a life where you seek to honor God and honor your parents, you're going to find joy. You spend your life serving other people and serving God, you're going to find joy. When you obey God, you're going to get joy. When you love other people and you love God, you're going to find joy. Same with respect. And this goes back now to the whole premise that God starts with this. Honor your mother and father so that you will live long in the land that I am providing you. God promises, you do these things, you're going to have a good life. Is it going to be easy all the time? No. You're still going to have to deal with jerky teachers and mean friends and heartbreak and crying and sickness and quarantining and all these things at different times. But you're going to have joy. You're going to have peace. You're going to have love. That is what God is getting to in this commandment. God intends for us to live in relationships that foster these 5 things. What we get from our parents, we carry forward to our future relationships. There's a reason God puts this as the first commandment that deals with all the people around us, right? The way that you interact with your parents is going to be the model of the way you interact with all other people in your life. Your parents are the first people to see you when you were born, right? They're the first people to love you. The first people to take you when you're whining and crying and screaming as a little baby and feed you and clothe you and hug you and take care of you. So the way you interact with your parents is going to be the way you interact with other people for the rest of your life. So do you want to have a good relationship with all the other people in your life, or do you want to have a terrible relationship with everybody else in your life? I know it seems hard. Mom and Dad don't get us. Mom and Dad don't seem to always understand. They try. They really, really want to understand. They really, really want to be part of your life. So the way we interact with them is important. And that's why God puts this commandment before all the others about stealing and killing and lying and coveting. Because if we don't get this relationship right to start with, it causes us issues further down the line. Any questions? About honor your mother and father so that you will live long in the land that I am providing you. It's tough. Parenting is tough. Being a kid is tough. So you have two people doing two jobs at the exact same time, and sometimes you're not going to see each other eye to eye. And that's okay. It's okay. But being a parent, I can tell you, I should have had Lewis come here, because Lewis just had his baby. He was sitting there. He goes, I finally realize what it must be like for God now that I'm a parent. Because he has this new little baby boy, and he's like, I finally get it. There are moments where you're looking at this baby and you're like, I haven't slept more than 4 hours in a week and a half. I'm exhausted. You've peed on me. You scream at me. You don't let me sleep. I feel dirty and nasty and gross. I just want to get rid of it in my life. That's how God looks at you. And I can tell you, that's how your parents look at you. Sometimes they're like, they are the grossest, terrible, rotten, unfeeling, unloving. And then the next moment they'll look at you and they're like, I love this thing, this person more than anything else in my life. Yes, Chris. I would say they love Jesus as much as they love as your parents love you. I don't think you can. Some people are like, oh, that they love their kids more. Nope. I think as long as a person is healthy, they love their kids equally. We all show it differently. My wife shows our love for our daughter different than I show it. Your dad probably shows it different than your mom. Your grandparents show it different than they do. Doesn't mean we don't love you. We do. They do. Good question. So next week, we're going to talk about you shall not kill and all that entails. Any questions? Cool. We're going to go to small groups and talk about your week, and hopefully you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Hopefully see some of you on Sunday for Pastor Steve's installation or at church.